I'm William Kumwembe with Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making lines in the country. And coming up in the program today, World Bank says Malawi economy in difficult position. We speak with experts. And also in the program, MRA misses Q1 revenue target. We find out why. Stay tuned. And welcome. In our main story in the program today, last week the World Bank issued the 19th edition of its Malawi Economic Monitor, a biannual report that provides an analysis of economic and structural development issues. It is themed the Reforming with Urgency, Malawi's path to economic stability, and largely highlights impingements to economic recovery and sustainable growth for Malawi. In the past report, the World Bank says the Malawi economy is in difficult position with macroeconomic policy choices and the recent drought worsening an already changing situation. Daunga Sabola was there and now filed this report.
According to the World Bank, the approval of the Extended Credit Facility Program by the International Monetary Fund in November last year enabled the resumption of budget support by the World Bank and the African Development Bank, but the macroeconomic adjustment necessary for economy to recover is proceeding slowly. The Bretton Woods institution notes that significant fiscal slippages, the Reserve Bank of Malawi's continued difficulty to accumulate foreign reserves, and mounting debt challenges cloud the outlook. World Bank Country Director for Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe and Tanzania, Nathan Belletti, said over the past years, Malawi has undertaken important macroeconomic reforms as part of wide-ranging macroeconomic adjustment agenda.
It's an opportunity for us, first of all, to give an update on our assessment on the macroeconomic developments in the country over the last 6 months. And then in addition to that, we take the opportunity to do a special topic analysis. And the special topic for today's, the 19th Malawi Economic Monitor, was on social protection, adaptive social protection. Essentially, there's several messages that came out of this. Let me first start on the macroeconomic. Obviously, as you well know, Malawi has gone through a terrible drought over this last year, as has been faced in several countries in this sub-region, and the impacts of that have been quite devastating. And so obviously we clearly see the impacts on the macroeconomic situation that is disturbing, but also we are pleased that the government has tried to take the necessary proactive actions, as well as we in the international community, to support Malawi. In addition to that, we also highlighted some of the other severe challenges facing the macroeconomic situation in the country, such as the debt negotiations process, such as the Forex issues, among others. And there's lots of continued actions that the government needs to take in terms of public policy to make sure that these things can be managed as best as possible so as to enable the economy to perform better and in response provide the best possible circumstances for the people of Malawi. So that's the first part. The second part was on the special topic of social protection. Number one, we commend the government of Malawi and all its partners in what has been achieved under this program. What we see was just 10 years ago that the number of people that were benefiting from this program was a fraction of almost what is today, which is 1.2 million people. And we think this is super important because social protection and adaptive safety nets not only provide an immediate response mechanism for poor and vulnerable, but it also stimulates the economy more broadly. So in addition to protecting livelihoods, it also has a way of supporting the broader economy. And we think it's important that these programs continue. They continue to be strengthened. They continue to be improved. We ensure that the targeting is accurate, and thereby also to ensure that all the people that really deserve and need to be part of this program can be there. So the recommendation is that we continue to work on strengthening the program, strengthening the targeting of the program, strengthening the various aspects of the program so that it can respond better to the needs of the poor and the vulnerable, as well as expanding the coverage of it. It's already working in all the districts of Malawi, but there's more individuals that need to benefit from the program, and we hope, along with other partners, can support the government in its efforts on this. Well, in times like this, when you have macroeconomic pressures and external shocks such as the drought, there's urgent actions that need to be taken. Obviously, one of those is continued fiscal consolidation, looking at government expenditures and seeing where expenditures can be cut so as to save and create some more fiscal space for the government to be able to reorient financing to priority interventions such as social protection. As well as continue to look at the overall debt management process, because obviously a large percentage of the public expenditure goes towards debt servicing. How that can be managed so as to create more fiscal space is very important. So these are some of the urgent areas where we encourage the government to continue to work at so as to create that fiscal space to respond to these external shocks that are facing the country.
The 19th Malawi Economic Monitor has a special topic on investing in adaptive safety nets. Minister of Gender Jean Sendeza said over the last 5 years, Malawi has been consistently hit by extreme weather events such as cyclones, which have inflicted immense social and economic damage.
Ministry of Gender and the Department of the Social Welfare Services, we are very much interested, especially on the social cash transfer program that is in the report. You know, as a country, as we are moving forward, there is a need for the investing in the adaptive safety nets, especially to the vulnerable groups of our society. As a country, we have had so many, crises: the COVID-19, the Cyclone Idai and the Cyclone Freddy, and all these crises, have made our economy to not, move to the right direction. So due to that, we have a lot of, people that are vulnerable, very poor. So due to that, we have the social cash transfer program that is, all the time is, targeting our people with disabilities. It's targeting the elderly, targeting the children, all of them. So due to the issues of the economic crisis, that's why we are saying that the social cash transfer is the best way to go, and there is need to do more. And in doing more, we have to learn, because in the report, we have seen that our colleagues in Zambia, in Mozambique, they were in the same situation as we are in, as we are talking, but they have moved a step forward. So we have to learn from our colleagues on how they have done, on how they have, managed to get out of the crises, the economic crisis that they are in. The other issue is about the coordination. The report is, has identified that there are some gaps in terms of coordination among the MDS, and there's need to be connecting to each other, not working in silos. So this is the most important issue, that as government we are committed to make sure that the working environment, the environment is conducive for all the partners, for those that are interested, those that are on our side, especially on the support of the social aspect of our vulnerable communities.
The World Bank produces the Malawi Economic Monitor every 6 months.
The Malawi Revenue Authority missed its 748.117 billion revenue target for the first quarter of the 2024-2025 financial year, Commissioner General John Biswick has said. Biswick said between April and June 2024, the authority collected 656.488 billion kwacha, which is about 12% shy of the target. This represents 91.629 billion kwacha deficit. Speaking last week on new taxes and measures in Blantyre, Biswick said the quarter one tax revenue is 41% higher than the 464 billion kwacha collected during the same time last year. Details in this report.
Biswick said between April and June 2024, the authority collected 656.48 billion kwacha, which is about 12% shy of the target. This represents a 91.6 billion deficit. He, however, said the first quarter tax revenue is 41% higher than 464.2 billion kwacha collected during the first quarter of the 2023-2024 financial year.
We are very optimistic. Even last year, you recall that when we started the year, we started on a low note, but eventually we hit the target, and that is going to be the same this year. There has been, I think, under collection in some tax areas like the trade taxes, the value-added tax, and I think you all know about the VAT, where there's most traders don't issue receipts. So we are going to have a new system, which I think will take care of that. So that those are the areas where we haven't done well, but we think that going forward we should be able to do more. Last year, this very same time, people had doubts about us beating the target. And we actually beat the target even after Parliament approved additional tax revenues to be collected. So I'm very sure that we should be able to do that.
Tax expert Emmanuel Karuruma said tax collection activities are cyclic and the tax collector should not point at symptoms as the cause of failure to meet the target. Economist Veri Nyirongo said amid optimism to meet the annual target, the 12% shortfall is substantial and could have a bearing.
I should say it's not really surprising. Okay. So Malawi Revenue Authority can only collect what it can collect, meaning at the moment, because we have seen that the economy has been shrinking by being downgraded. So that means that Malawi Revenue Authority should also be affected, because if the business is not booming, where are they going to collect the taxes? So yeah, it's not really surprising. The good part is it looks like Malawi Revenue Authority on their part, they know what the problem is, but the fact is some of them are beyond their control.
Presenting the 2024-2025 national budget to Parliament, Minister of Finance Simplex Chicholabanda said domestic revenue is estimated at 3.38 trillion kwacha. It represents 18.1% of gross domestic product, of which tax revenues are estimated at 3.26 trillion kwacha, and other revenues have been projected at 126.54 billion kwacha.
Remember, you're watching This Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is William Kumwembe. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. And my name is Kumwembe. Moving on with the program. Malawi should wait a little longer before it starts tapping power from Mozambique under the Malawi-Mozambique Interconnection Project. This is according to state-owned electricity supplier, Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi, ESCOM. ESCOM Chief Executive Officer Kumwembe said this sidelines of an event where Malawi signed two agreements with the European Union totaling 93 million euros, which is about 182 billion kwacha, in which the EU has committed to financing two projects that respond to the objectives of the Malawi 2063. He explains in this interview.
Yeah, for Malawi and Mozambique Interconnector, the progress is good. We had a few challenges that in other areas where we did surveys, we didn't know that there are a lot of rocks, so we're blasting the rocks. But in terms of progress, Malawi is ahead of Mozambique. For Malawi, some towers are already up. I think by August next year, on the Malawi side, we should be ready. But Mozambique will be ready, I think, by the end of next year. But as you know, it's one line, so we'll wait until our counterparts in Mozambique are ready. By end of the next year, the line should be up and running. Yeah, as of now, we have funding gaps. As you are aware, last year, November, we had the devaluation of the kwacha. Because of the devaluation, NERA authorized that we increase the tariff by 40%. But for ESCOM, we're not allowed to increase the tariff by 40%. But all producers and all suppliers have increased their costs by 40%. So there's a gap. In other ways, we are paying more, but we are collecting less. So that funding gap needs to be bridged up. So this loan is coming at the right time. So the tariff that we have is not cost effective. We are paying more, but we are selling at a reduced price, especially for domestic customers. Yeah, that one affects 23 targets because in the end, ESCOM, we prioritize paying the producers, other suppliers, then we have very little left for us to embark on these projects to expand the grid or even for maintenance. So that's the biggest challenge that we're having because we can't afford not to pay producers, otherwise they'll cut supply to ESCOM. As you are aware, ESCOM, our mandate is just to distribute. We just buy and sell. So when the money comes in, ESCOM collects the tariff on behalf of the sector. So there's government in terms of taxes, there's the mayor in terms of tariffs, then there's producers. So we prioritize paying these agencies. Whatever left over is meant for ESCOM operations, but it's not enough.
Now, Malawi Stock Exchange listed NBS Bank PLC is optimistic for the positive outturn this year amid challenges rocking the economy. This comes as the bank reported a 55% growth in its profit after tax for the year ended December 31st, 2023 to 29.38 billion kwacha from 18.9 billion kwacha. Speaking at the bank's annual meeting in Blantyre on Friday, NBS Bank Board Chairperson Kumwembe said the bank's strategic objectives for the year under review yielded fruits. He said the bank recorded a 50% growth in revenue that's year on year. He explains in this interview
that the bank had a very good year. Our profitability went up by 55% from 19 billion to just under 30 billion in 2023. And that was an excellent result, especially if you consider the environment in which we operated. You see, it was a highly inflationary environment. We had high interest rates, shortage of foreign exchange, and logistical issues for people to do business. So it was a very tough year. So with all that, to register the performance of registered, we are really happy, and the shareholders, I think, going by the way the meeting has gone, are happy. From the shareholders' point of view, they have gotten a good dividend, but also the share price increased by over that same period by 238%, and that talks to the appreciation that investors out there are happy with the way the bank is performing. Well, you see, the performance on the stock exchange, we can't tell. It's really for the investors to make a judgment on us, on the bank, as to if they believe the bank value should go up. But all I can say on the part of the board and management, what we can work on is the performance of the bank in terms of, among other things, profitability. And when we're talking about profitability, we have started very well for the first half of the year of 2024, January to June. We did publish a trading statement where we expect our performance to be over 160% over what we achieved last year, so which is a very, very good performance. And obviously the environment is still very, very challenging, but we have confidence in our team, our staff, management and team, that despite the challenges, the second half should be equally good. Well, the way it's a good, in a way, maintained. on the basis that because the environment has really been, like inflation has been going up, and there was fear that the bank, the MPC would have decided to increase the policy rate. But the fact that they haven't increased, they have maintained where it is. For us, we're happy. But the policy rate is still very high. And, obviously it is talking to what they are seeing in the market. And maybe it's a wait and see to say maybe things will improve so that, inflation will come down, and hopefully then the rates can come down, starting with the policy.
Another business news, National Investment Trust PLC shareholders have implored leadership of the Malawi Stock Exchange listed firm to consider investing in high-yielding instruments to further improve profitability. The shareholders took turns to commend the firm, however, for its outstanding performance in the year December 31st, 2023 at its 22nd annual general meeting held in Blantyre last Friday. During the year under review, the financial firm posted a 21.5% profit after tax. New board chairperson is Esther Gondwe and says the firm is on a growth trajectory.
So they have talked about a low dividend yield compared to the average, to the market average. So at the stakeholders meeting that we had 2 weeks ago, this is what we looked at and how we can improve shareholders. It's one of the things that we looked at, how we can improve shareholders' return, apart from looking at the objective of the company as well as the company structure. So generally reviewing the strategy of NITL with the overall aim to improve return to the shareholders. So we also responded that our investments are on the stock exchange. Over 90% of our investment are on the stock exchange. And we are limited at the moment because we are investing what is on the stock exchange at the moment. But we took the comment that we need to diversify more, not just in the equities that we have invested in, but also in the classes, in the asset classes. In other words, our investment in equities, our investment in properties, we need to look at that and make sure that we spread our risk across a number of different sectors as well as different asset classes. So we've taken note of that. We are working on the strategy. We are reviewing our strategies, and we did look at what else we can invest in to make sure that we improve our performance, but also improve the visibility of the company so that we can increase the value to the shareholders. So some of the investments that we considered we are going to look at will be investing in things that are important for national development, investing in technologies. So it's not something we'll do overnight, but we accept that we can do better, and therefore we'll be looking at those other areas that we need to invest in.
Well, with that story, we also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time. It is a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. My name is Kumwembe. On behalf of the entire production team, thank you for watching, but always remember, it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.